Welcome to the Next Gen Mentoring Forum. The Next Gen Mentoring Forum series is designed to empower, educate, and illuminate individuals who are interested in the financial planning industry. At each forum, an expert will discuss a topic in the field of financial planning with the purpose of inspiring critical thought and discussion. Today's session is to interview a successful financial planning practice. My name is Josiah Gonzalez, Graduate Program Specialist at the School of Management. I am your host today. I am a proud CRU alum from the MPPA program. Dr. Jolly Jen is an assistant professor and director of the financial planning program at California Lutheran University. She maintains an active financial planning practice, specialized in succession program management at the Value Growth Institute. She's authored 3 books. Most recently, peer-reviewed research book is by Palgrave Macmillan, Springer Nature, titled Enhancing Retirement Success Rates in the United States, Leveraging Reverse Mortgages, Delaying Social Security, and Exploring Continuous Work. Next Gen Mentoring Forum is sponsored by California Lutheran University School of Management Financial Planning Program. We offer an MBA in financial planning that helps financial advisors pursue a leadership position or grow their financial planning practice by deploying advanced financial planning, effective client communications / counseling, streamlined practice management, as well as leverage fintech. I will turn it over to you, Dr. Jen.
Thank you, Josiah, and thank you everyone for attending today's session. I am very honored to interview one of our Financial Planning Advisory Council member, Kathryn Courain, who also is a CFP. She is a partner of Avalon Wealth Management, and Kathryn has close to 3 decades of experience assisting high net worth clients with their total wealth management needs, including perpetual trust planning, private foundation and charitable planning, commercial financing, and tax planning. She's specializing in managing the legal and tax advisory relationship in order to provide clients with a comprehensive vision of their overall financial goals. Since each client has a unique investment and planning objectives, Kathryn employs different strategies and solutions to meet specific needs. She provides the necessary unbiased advice and financial analysis necessary that helps guide clients through the wealth management process to ensure goals are met. Kathryn grew up in Santa Barbara County and was the avid equestrian for more than 30 years. She has a passion for supporting charities, especially in animal welfare charities, and she's a current board treasurer of Care for Paws. So Kathryn, thank you so much for joining us today. When I first came across your information, what impressed me was that you and my daughter has the same hobby, that's equestrian. So tell us a little bit about you first.
Well, thank you, and thank you for allowing me to participate in this series, and thank you to Cal Lutheran too, Dr. Chien, for the amazing program that you're running. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for everybody who's interested in financial planning to expand their knowledge, and definitely they should be checking out Cal Lutheran for any sort of advanced education they want in the field of financial planning. So I obviously grew up in Santa Barbara County. I grew up in a little town called Orcutt, which is north of Santa Barbara, and was fascinated with horses from a very, very young age. And I think I started riding when I was 6 years old, and I started going to horse shows by the time I was 7. And I've essentially never stopped with that passion. It's a part of me and something that I would never give up. It taught me such great discipline and structure, and obviously a great competitive drive when you're having to always work on being better at what you love to do. I went to school in San Luis Obispo at Cal Poly State University. I majored in business with a concentration in finance, and I thought it was a great opportunity. The learn by doing philosophy at that school really helped me to kind of grow and learn a little bit more about what I was passionate about in the business world. And now, as far as what I do now, I still try and ride occasionally. I unfortunately had a injury last year, which has postponed my riding, and it wasn't riding related, but it's been taking a while to heal, and I hope to get back into it again later on this year. Of course, we're going through a pandemic right now, and nobody is allowed to be really close to one another, so that's also prohibiting being able to start my riding practice again.
So when you were very young and learning to ride, because I remember those days that I take my daughter for riding lessons, and she started much later compared to you. She started out at 10 to start riding, but then she started going to the shows, and all the way through college she was competing. All the way through college. She has taken a little bit step back now because it's in so much research now. But I remember that it's not just the fancy look of it. There's a lot of work. People don't know about that. Taking care of a horse, there's so much work to put into it. And tell us a little bit about that discipline. What does that discipline do for you in terms of later on, I would assume that kind of paved the way for your career as well. So talk a little bit about that discipline.
I think that it definitely helped with my discipline just overall. It's interesting because I've also always had a love for numbers. And from a very young age, I thought I might even be an accountant, a CPA. But one of the things that in terms of finance that was related to my riding was when I was 12 years old, my parents actually set up a checking account for me, and they would deposit a certain amount of money every month. And from that, I had to budget what I was going to spend for my horse's board, training, any special feed the horse might need, shoeing that the horse needs, budgeting for horse shows, so I'd have money to go to horse shows.
Right.
So that actually was a huge, I think, plus that my parents provided to me in terms of understanding how to manage money from a very young age. And the horse side of it, of course, boy, you can't get by with just doing things quickly with horses. You know, you're dealing with an animal, as I'm sure your daughter knows, that has a mind of its own, and you have, you know, you're just one little small person on top of a 1,200 pound or more animal. Right. And you have to learn to negotiate. You have to learn to think ahead. You have to learn to be intuitive, but also be very structured in your thought process. And I think that, and you have to be very goal oriented, because things don't just happen immediately when you're dealing with an animal that has a mind of its own. So in that regard.
Right. So and those, what you just mentioned, all those are translating into your business skill beautifully as you work with horse early on at younger age. Plus your parents, I'm very impressed about your parents are giving you that sort of learning to kind of figure it out. It's not just a hobby. It's something that you have to manage along the way. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It was great. I had such a wonderful upbringing, and I'm so grateful for having horses. You know, it also, you, when you're going to horse shows or when you're having to be at the barn, you know, at 6 o'clock in the morning on the weekend, it really makes you disciplined in all areas of your life. And of course, I was required to get really, really good grades if I wanted to continue my hobby.
That's true.
My love of horses.
Yeah, I did the same with my daughter.
It's a good motivation.
Grades have to be up, and then you could go through competition and all that.
Absolutely.
Right. And so when you've gone through that experience, got into college, and then by the time you graduated, how did you then come to the industry?
So, of course, I always thought when I was going to go to college that I was going to become, as I mentioned, an accountant or a CPA. And I went to Cal Poly. They didn't have an accounting program, but they had a finance program. And I realized early on that I loved the accounting, but I was also fascinated with business law, real estate finance, and essentially any course that just challenged me and kept my mind active. And probably about a year before I graduated, maybe 2, my dad had me read a book called Do What You Love, The Money Will Follow. I believe that was the title. And it wasn't about, how to make the most money in life, but it was really about how to make sure that whatever career you pursued would provide you with passion, so that, you want to do something that inspires you every day to get into the office and inspires you to be better at what you do. And for me, I found that I just loved finance. I thought it was just fascinating. But when I graduated college, I had no idea there was such a thing as financial planning. We actually did not have any courses in financial planning.
Right.
So when I graduated, I still had the horse show world, your competition years are calendar year based. So when I graduated, I actually took some time off before looking for a job, as I was still finishing out a competition year. And then in early 92 is when I got my first job, and it was at a finance company. And I was a little naive to that aspect of the world. It was one of these companies that charged people, very high interest rates, shorter term loans. And they were very aggressive with their marketing, wanting people to buy insurance related to insuring these loans. And I was just, completely shocked at this behavior. And to me, it was just so unethical, because we weren't really helping people. And I was so fortunate because back then, nobody will be able to relate to this. I was looking for jobs in the newspaper and the help wanted ad.
I remember that.
It shows my age. And I came across a position for a junior financial planner, and it was in the Santa Ynez Valley. And I went for an interview, and of course I pull up, and it was on a private horse ranch. And I was like, wow, this is, couldn't be better. And fortunately, I received the offer, and I took the position, and that's where I started my career, and was at that firm for about 26 years. It was an amazing experience, a wonderful opportunity. And I not only got to do what I love, but I get to help clients and help them pursue their goals and dreams. And it's just been absolutely amazing.
And when you were with that firm, did you have mentor helping you through those 26 years? How does that 26 years kind of translate for you in terms of learning?
It certainly went by fast, and definitely the owner of the firm, Joel Baker, was a great mentor. And I think one of the things I respected the most about him, and I try and pass this along to other junior advisors I work with, is that he always made me dig for the answers. So anytime a client had a particular situation, he would have me go call people if I needed to, call attorneys, call CPAs, research for the information and come back with an answer. I think that's something that this particular profession is profound in, is that you have to have critical thinking capabilities, and you have to be really analytical, but yet you also have to be somewhat intuitive in terms of being able to know where to go for the information you might need.
For the information, yeah. And I think that's a really excellent way of helping people to know that in this industry, clients are all very different. It is not a set of tools that you can help all clients. Therefore, having that critical thinking, ability to research can really, really help enhance your relationship with the clients as well.
Absolutely. It's so important.
At what point that you transitioned from that firm to your current firm?
So I transitioned to my current firm in February of 2016, and I had been obviously at my old firm for quite a number of years, and the owner was slowing down a little bit in terms of the direction he wanted to take the firm. So I looked for somebody to partner with, and my partner, Rich Schutte, already had the firm in place, Avalon, and I probably talked to at least 10 different firms over the course of a couple years. And Rich was so not only intelligent, but he was so ethical, and he always wanted to put the client first. And a lot of our philosophies were very similar. And so I ended up joining Avalon, as I mentioned, in February of 2016. And it's just been the best experience. We are a boutique wealth management firm. We specialize in working with business owners and entrepreneurs, but also successful families with my background, with really helping with the generational planning. And so our two practices individually blended very well when we became partners in the firm together. Our expertise is just comes from two different sides, and as I said, blends really well.
And how, when you first joined forces, how big was the team, and then how big was the team now? Give us some idea of how much you have grown over time.
Yeah, so over the last 4 years, we've added 4 additional full-time staff members and 2 additional advisors who are affiliated with Avalon. When we first started, we just had 1 junior planner and 1 admin person helping. And as I said, now we've got a total of 6 people plus 2 outside advisors, and it's continuing to grow as we have new opportunities present themselves.
And from a business model perspective, just for the purpose of helping whoever is listening and watching this, that tell us about your business model. Are you fee only, fee-based, commission? Tell us what that model looks like for you.
Great. So we're not actually fee only, which means we can only charge fees because my business partner and I actually both hold life insurance licenses. And we do that just because my background, my former employer, we did do a lot of different types of life insurance. And I actually held a securities license for quite some time, and even a Series 24, which is essentially the supervisory role.
Yeah.
And life insurance in the right situation is an excellent tool in the planning process. Personally, I feel it can be overused a lot, but for your high net worth clients and for those people who have sufficient savings and all their resources and who need life insurance, it can be an excellent tool. And
I agree.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we do share sometimes in commissions on life insurance products. And the reason is that there is a lot of time and effort we put in on our end, because we look to insurance brokers to make sure that they're giving us the right products. We keep up to date, and so that we can read illustrations, we understand what the differences are, we can help the clients make an educated decision and make proper recommendations. And therefore it's a lot of work and effort on our part, and that's why we do have the opportunity to share in commissions if the need arises.
And so out of your client base, obviously you have predominantly business owner clients plus all sorts of multi-generational families. Give us some idea of what are some of the typical clients that you run into in today's environment? What are some of the issues that you're seeing in today's environment?
That is a great question. So in today's environment, in terms of being the pandemic situation going on, a lot of our business owner clients are having to deal with issues related to employee staffing, government assistance, what's the best way to move forward. Some of our business owners, if they're smaller business owners, have been significantly impacted by their businesses being closed down and not being allowed to open yet. A lot of our business owners, though, have not been affected. And so there's actually opportunity for growth. They may be looking at actually taking over specific areas and markets that they maybe weren't looking to quite yet, but this has provided them with opportunities. As you mentioned earlier, every client is unique. There's no such thing as a one size fits all in this industry. And so each client comes to us with a different problem, and our job is to help find multiple solutions and then help the client work through and feel comfortable with the decision of the solution that we feel is best and that they also agree with.
Right. So I know that just recently that many of my clients, which I ended up doing lots of research, like what you said, regarding about these stimulus package, because some of them they may or may not be directly impacted, but there's still a need that they have to get some funding for. So yeah, you're right. Every client is a little bit differently, and your ability to be able to get them the right resources and work with their CPAs and attorney to move forward, that's really the key in terms of helping them kind of manage their financial affairs, if you will.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So in terms of the Avalon as a firm, tell us a little bit about the firm's philosophy, because I was on your website looking at, you have several different things. You have entrepreneurs, you have charitable planning and things like that. Tell us about some of your philosophy in terms of the firm itself.
So we do have advisors who specialize in certain areas, as I mentioned. So my business partner has always loved working with entrepreneurs. I've always loved to work with families with generational wealth. We have another advisor who's very charitable minded and loves working with clients that have social causes or that's their main focus in life. As a firm, I think we believe that we want to build relationships with people where we feel we can add value. This industry, in terms of the investment side, so many people do a great job at managing investments and providing suitable returns, and we do a great job of that as well. But our role as your wealth manager is to go beyond that, and we want to add value to all areas of your life. And the conversation that you had actually with Liz in regards to her with the niche of the family office practice. So in a family office, you have essentially one family or generations of one family, and the advisor's role is to work specifically with that family and to build the right team in-house.
Right.
What we do for our families is we have what we call a virtual family office.
Right.
So we've built a team of advisors that work for us that we meet with at least quarterly, and we can review clients' information with them, not disclosing, it's all confidential. We will redact names and things, but if we have a prospect or if we have a client we're working through something, we have the expertise with a panel of other advisors in different industries that we can work with. Then when a new client comes on board, we can develop the right team of professionals to help that client's particular needs. So it's very similar to a family office, but we call it virtual just because it's not that it's out there in the cloud, but it's because we manage that relationship for the client. And if we feel a particular advisor may not be doing the best that they can, or maybe the client grows to a different level and needs a new professional to take place, we can help manage that. And we just want to make sure that every area of your life, we're helping you. So if you are an entrepreneur and you've built a great business, we want to make sure that if you're going to be exiting that business soon, that we have a plan in place, that we have a business valuation attorney. We have somebody on board that can provide you a business valuation. We have an estate planning attorney to make sure your estate planning goals are being met. We have the right CPA given your situation, that we make sure your insurance coverage is accurate for your particular needs. We try and do everything, as I said, similar to what a family office may do, but on a much smaller scale for smaller clients. So instead of, family office is typically about 250 million or more, we can work with clients who have significantly less wealth, but give them a very similar experience.
So that team approach of servicing client, the term virtual family office becomes what I call probably more centralized services in a decentralized, how should I say that? In a decentralized service level, if you will. So each one of the clients are getting really, really good service because of the expertise and the team that you assemble to help the clients. So that's actually pretty amazing in terms of the team approach. How about the marketing? What do you guys do in terms of marketing? Because I know that nowadays lots of advisors, maybe on the YouTube or maybe on the LinkedIn, maybe doing different type of things. What do you guys do in terms of marketing to either get more clients in or to retain your clients?
So another really good question. And I think for everybody out there, the number one marketing source should be your existing clients. If you are doing a fantastic job for them, you're putting your clients first, you will find that your clients are going to be your biggest referral source. And I think that's something that in this industry, a lot of times people are very sales driven or,
Right.
really focused on the next opportunity. But the fact of the matter is, if you are doing a really good job for your clients, they will want to refer people to you.
Sure.
I think the next great marketing opportunity is building really solid relationships with centers of influence that you respect. So these
Right.
are attorneys, CPAs, maybe insurance agents, any sort of professional that you think they're just knocking it out of the park in their particular field, and that they share the same values as you do. In my opinion, that should always be putting the client first.
Sure.
And if you develop relationships with them and you help them understand what you do really well and you understand what they do really well, you'll find that there's opportunities that you both have to refer to one another. And I think that's something that is sometimes missed, or sometimes we're afraid to go and build those relationships. We're looking for maybe an immediate satisfaction of getting clients right away, but it takes time. Our whole process takes time. When we have a new client, or a new prospect come in, we don't have paperwork ready to go. We take an hour and a half, 2 hours in our first meeting to get to know the client, the prospect. Right. Who are they? The next time we meet, we'll go over what we learned about you and talk about some of the recommendations we have. We still don't want you to sign anything at that time. It's not until the third time we meet, when you've had a chance to look over what our recommendations would be and how we might work together, you have the opportunity to ask questions, and then we will proceed if it feels like it's going to be a relationship where we can add value to you and you want to work with us. So that's a little bit about our marketing philosophy, but of course right now we're in really uncharted territory with what's going on with the pandemic and not being able to meet anybody in person. So we're actually just starting some marketing initiatives online. We have a business challenge that we're doing for business owners starting next week. Good. And that's actually on our website now. And we'll be looking to more creative ways. We generally are not out there trying to market on social media or in any sort of publications, because we again feel that the best source is our existing clients and COIs.
And so in terms of the client referrals, COIs, center of influence referrals, do you have a process in place in terms of referral process that you follow, or is this something that different from client to client, different from different relationship?
I think it typically we have a process that we follow in terms of how we want to make sure we have a standardized process in terms of what we do during the first meeting, second meeting, etc. I think this is what you're asking. But we realize each client is unique, and each client, or each prospect, I should say, might have certain needs that are higher priority. And so we might have to take a different direction, but we have a very standardized process that we like to follow to make sure everyone has the same experience.
Good. And in terms of this new initiative, the business challenge, initiative that you have. Tell us a little bit about that. What would you like to kind of accomplish with that particular campaign? I call it campaign.
So we're really giving business owners the opportunity to essentially learn a little bit more about what they can do to help themselves during this time. We want to make sure that first that people are taking care of themselves and understanding what, that we all need to focus on making sure our health is great and, keeping ourselves structured. We're also going to give information from an employer attorney's viewpoint, because many employers are going to have potential problems with
Sure.
bringing staff back on, or having to lay
There are
staff
certain
off.
liabilities. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We are going to have a CPA talking about opportunities again for government assistance or other programs that might be out there, or also things that were changed in the tax code to help business owners. And we're going to have a very successful business owner talk about his strategies over more than 50 years of being an entrepreneur. And then on the last day, we're going to we have a stress test that we like to offer to people where we can analyze your current situation and give you an opportunity to find areas that we feel, may need some more support in your financial life.
Oh, I like that. I like that keyword, stress test.
Yes.
See if you can pass the stress test.
Yes, exactly.
I like that. So this business challenge is really, if I could interpret it correctly, is probably more of sort of education awareness, sort of information that look at the legal side, look at the tax side, and look at a successful business owners, as well as kind of giving them a tool to see how well they test themselves out on this stress test. So that's a pretty comprehensive in terms of helping owners to understand holistically. It's not just the financial area. There's a whole lot go into a business.
Absolutely.
So earlier I mentioned that you sit on the board for Care for Paws. And I'm assuming that's one way of you paying forward as your first mentor have mentored you over the years. Share with us, other than the charitable organization you serve, how do you see, or recommend to people the best way to pay forward?
Boy, I am a big believer in paying it forward. Again, thanks to my dad, he had given me some advice when I think after my first year of college, I had a little inkling to join the Peace Corps. And I thought volunteering would be a great opportunity, which it is. And I still am a big believer in volunteerism. But my dad had mentioned to me, he said, one of the things that charities need more than anything is money. He said, it's easier to find volunteers than it is for charities to find money. And he said, if you really want to make a difference in the world, he's like, figure out a way how to give back monetarily, and then also with your time. And I took that to heart, and I do everything I can to donate as much as possible to charities of all different sorts. Of course, you mentioned my passion is animal welfare, but I believe all sorts of charities deserve our dollars. And it's our responsibility to make sure that when we're looking at charities that we do a little bit of research and make sure that they're using the dollars in the areas that they say they are, and that they're being properly run. But from a charitable perspective, for example, like working with clients with private foundations and seeing the impact that they have on the lives of so many others has been so rewarding in my career. I've worked with very wealthy families who initially would not be donating very much money at all on an annual basis. And because of some of the tax benefits that the government gives you for private foundations, or setting up a private foundation, or maybe a liquidation event that occurred that had the family having a whole bunch of excess monies and being able to create a private foundation, and then watching these families as a family and making family decisions on where these dollars should be distributed and how it can make a difference in so many people's lives has been beyond rewarding. And in my career, being able to help younger junior financial advisors, learn some of the skill sets and the discipline that I've learned throughout my career, and the fact that this is such a rewarding profession. I mean,
it is.
There's so many areas that you can go down in terms of specializing, and it just really, I so truly believe that you really have to want to help people and then whatever you're passionate about as a person, you know, kind of follow that path, and you can find a niche in our industry and fulfill that niche, and then help others, you know, again, either through monetary donations, volunteering your time, or just helping anybody you see on a day-to-day basis, just even by telling somebody, if you think that they have a great smile, just tell them they have a great smile, and you're paying it forward right there.
I like that.
Yeah, you have to believe it. It has to come from your heart, though.
That's true. And I like the fact that you circle back to at the very beginning, you mentioned about, you know, find a career that can marry to your passion. And that the how you're paying forward today, not only training the next junior advisors or planners into the industry, but at the same time, you're also helping family who probably are not thinking about charitable donation, but now they are. So you're not just helping clients, the planners, you're helping the entire kind of you're creating your own eco community, if you will. That community continue to grow because of your connections with clients and with career from a planner as well. So that's really incredible. Congratulations for that. I wanted to go back to the niche. So many times students will be asking, or sometimes planner will be asking, you know, how do I find a niche? Obviously, your answer is more on the passion side. But if someone who really doesn't have a clear idea of what their passion is, or love a lot of things, how would you help them narrow down a niche to move forward?
So one of the things I think that's important when you focus on a niche is that you have to not only be passionate about it, but you actually have to be kind of good at it as well. So if you want a niche of helping, say, business owners focus on ways to enhance their tax incentives, or, you know, something related to taxes, and you're terrible with numbers and you can't read a tax return and it's super confusing, you don't want to go down that niche. Or if you want to help somebody, you know, in a particular industry, say like, I want to work only with people who have car dealerships because I love cars. Well, that's fantastic niche, but then you have to make sure that you're taking the time and energy to know everything and anything there is about car dealerships. That's and how, you know, how often they're sold, you know, do they pass on to the next generation? So I think you have to not only have a passion, as I mentioned, but if you're good at something, start trying to fine tune that and figure out, you know, can I make something out of this particular niche? For example, with the multi-generational planning niche, you know, I have to have a very strong ability to understand legal documents, as well as understand tax returns, and be able to think about concepts that maybe the attorney hasn't even thought about, that can we bring this to the table? There could be advisors who they love being around people, and they're, you know, they have a general knowledge of our industry, but their favorite thing to do is marketing and kind of being the rainmaker, bringing the business in. Then partner with somebody who loves sitting behind the desk and being in front of a computer all day and running numbers. There's so many different areas that you can specialize in, but I think you definitely have to be realistic with yourself and say, you know, am I capable of being in this particular niche, not only because I'm passionate about it, but because I'm capable in this niche as well.
I remember back in, because I was a career changer, so back in the day when I first came into the industry, I know, like you, I'm very good with numbers, but I don't have much experience. And the numbers come in from various different terms. It could be investment, it could be tax and all that. But I knew that reading tax return I'm really good at, but I wanted to learn as much as possible. So I ended up volunteering for VITA for 4 years period of time. I couldn't tell you how many tax returns I've done, but through that experience, that you're right, find a passion and find something you're really good at. And I didn't know I was very good at it until I started volunteering. And then after you've gone through so many returns, I also became so good at counseling. That's just an added feature that coming in. So I think that for the young generations out there, that passion doesn't necessarily mean doesn't need work. It still needs some work.
Absolutely.
But once you find an outlet to learn, you can certainly excel really, really well into the industry.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for all these valuable advice there. So if you were to give one advice to someone who is new in the industry, what would that be? Because we talked about a lot of different techniques to grow business. So if you were just to give one, what would that be?
Boy, that's a really good question. And I think, you know, it all kind of, again, summarizes to, you know, making sure that you love this industry, but you don't, one thing I think most people believe that this industry is about investments. And I actually am not an investment person. That can easily be outsourced. Investments are more like a commodity in my mind. There's plenty of people who specialize specifically, or plenty of firms that's all they do. We happen to do it really well here, but I don't personally do it. I'm not making the allocations, you know, picking the funds. We have a team that does that. So just because you don't like investments doesn't mean this isn't a great field for you. One of our young planners right now actually just graduated with a psychology degree. And
wow, that's actually good combination though.
Absolutely. I mean, we all know that in this industry, there's a lot of therapy that happens with your clients.
Like it or not.
Yes, like it or not. But for me, I just feel like in terms of advice, I really want to let people know that you have to like what you're doing. I mean, the joke around the office here is like Monday is my most favorite day. I mean, because I get to come back to work and, you know, that's when clients start calling, emails start coming. It seems like everybody kind of checks out on the weekend, but I really feel like if you love to help people and you love to problem solve and it's, you know, exciting for you, this is just an unbelievable career path. And don't think that there's only one certain area that you have to pursue. There's so many amazing opportunities in this industry.
That's true. Yeah, that's so very true. I guess I start working on Sunday, so I must love my job.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Kathryn, so much for wonderful advice, and then took us through the journey of how your parents kind of guided you through using passion and using what you love to do to come across a great career. And not only that, from your journey, you've been trained, but you also train a lot of planners as well. So that's really an incredible journey. And thank you so much for taking time to do the interview with us. And with that, I'm going to turn the floor back to Josiah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Josiah.
Thank you, Dr. Jen and Kathryn. We were so glad to have you for today's Next Gen Mentoring Forum. Thank you to California Lutheran University School of Management Financial Planning Program for sponsoring today's Next Gen Mentoring Forum. California Lutheran University School of Management offers an MBA in financial planning and helps financial advisors pursue a leadership position or grow their financial planning practice by deploying advanced financial planning, effective client communication / counseling, streamlined practice management, as well as leverage fintech. Please sign up for our info session for more info. Our next Gen Mentoring session is on late August 2020. Thank you all and see you at the next Gen Mentoring Forum. Have a good day.